All right, one of the top questions I hear every day is what's the right air compressor for me? And that can be a hard one to answer because it's always the right tool for the right job. And, but I've taken it and I've taken all the different, jobs that are out there and I've broken down to 10 categories. So we're going to go through each one of those categories and hopefully find out what's the right one for you. But first, I want to thank today's sponsor. All right, last time I introduced you to Bella, but today I want to talk to you about her little brother, and that's Bear. Now, Bear's just over a year old, and now let me tell you, this pump runs like he's powered by avgas. When we first brought him home, we did what everyone does. We started him off with kibble, but when we transitioned Bella over, we wanted to do it with him also. So we went to the farmer's dog. One of the things you're supposed to do is you're supposed to mix the foods together, do a nice slow transition. He said no to that. He literally spits the kibble out and just eats the fresh stuff. This dog knows what he wants and he's not going to settle for anything else. He might be a little bit spoiled. Can't say as I blame him though. The farmer's dog is real food. It's human grade food that's held to the same safety standards that our own food is. It's delivered right to your door. It's personalized for your dog and it's based on their weight, their age, their activity level. The second he hears that pack, he is there. Well, he's a Labrador, so that kind of goes without saying. So if you're ready to switch your dog over to real food, now's a great time to do it. You can get 50% off your first box with shipping and everything else, 24/7 customer support just by clicking my link in the description down below or scanning the QR code that's up on the screen. Trust me, your dog will taste the difference. Bear sure did. All right. Let's break it down, okay? Now, the first category we have here, it's going to be light-duty household use, all right? Let me pull it up here. So the first one we got, this is if you have, all you need is just basically you're going to top off air tires, fill up some, a basketball or football, maybe a pool toy or two, light-duty kind of stuff. And I'm going to err towards the small and the light and maybe some portability. So the first one we got here is going to be the California Air Tools 8010. This is the 1.0 horsepower ultra quiet. Now there's the 810A that doesn't have wheels, but I like the hot dog with the wheels. Makes it easy to roll under, a counter or a bench or something. Easier to move around for that home kind of shop. It's only running at like 60 decibels. You're doing 3 CFM at 90 PSI. Actually, that's quite a bit there. So if you decide to run a nail gun or something like that, you can do that as well. Oil-free, low maintenance, around $200. That's just a solid value on that one. Now, I'm going to give you a runner-up for each category, and here we're going to talk about the one I use, which is the Fortress 2-gallon. Now, the 2-gallon here, it's smaller, but it's going to be quieter. It's easy to pick up and go. 135 max PSI, 2.1 SCFM at 60 dBA. You can really have a conversation in the room with this one. All right, now next up, we're going to talk about for the weekend warriors. You're going to be running brad nailers, upholstery staplers, occasional blow guns, airing things out and whatnot. You're going to need a little bit more than just, airing up a tire or two, okay? Now for this one we're going to go with the Fortress 6-gallon as the primary choice. 68 decibels. It's one of the quietest pancake air compressors out there. It's got 175 max PSI, which means it's more usable air per tank, if you would. 150 PSI. It does 2.6 CFM or SCFM. And 90 PSI. Now it comes in around $230, so it's a bit on the pricey side, but for a quiet, really serviceable all-around home compressor, this one really works. Now for the alternate on this, we're going to talk about the Cobalt Quiet Tech, 4.3 gallon, 150 PSI on this one. It runs about $250, but it's ultra low noise, and you know what else? It's on wheels. And I don't know about you, but again, I really like having the wheels. It makes it easier to do stuff. Now let's talk about some real work, some job sites, some framing, some carpentry, that kind of stuff, all right? So the first pick I'm going to do on that one is going to be the Metabo HPT. This is the old school pick. It's the tank. I mean, it literally says it right on the tank. You're looking at 200 PSI max. You can run nail after nail after nail. It's going to keep up with it. It's built just like the name, 200 max PSI, if I didn't mention that before. This is made to run nailers all day long and without crying about it, all right? It's going to get the job done. Now, the backup to this one used to be the old standby, which was the Rigid. Now, Rigid, they've got a new manufacturer or something, new design on this. I'm not as sold on it as it was, but the price on this at $129, it's hard to ignore the price on that. Again, if you want the tried and true, you can't beat Metabo HPT, but for the price, you might want to consider the Rigid, all right? Now, the next one we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about automotive stuff, all right? Now, I'm looking at home gamer. This is not pro kind of stuff, but this is like impacts, ratchets, grinders, that kind of stuff. You need a bigger tank with enough CFM, or SCFM. I keep screwing that with CFM. You gotta have enough to keep up with your job, all right? So the first one we're going to choose here as the best bang for the buck pick is going to be the Fortress 26 gallon. It's 175 max PSI, 4.5 SCFM at 90 PSI, 69 dB. Not super quiet, but quiet enough you won't be bleeding from the ears. $400 goes on sale, is in fact inside track right now for $350. That's kind of the standard. Now the runner up on that is the Cobalt QuietTech. Very similar compressor. Right now it's not on sale, but it goes on for sale for a similar price. Not quite the same specs, but close enough to the ballpark that you should definitely consider it. Basically just decide where you prefer to shop. Now let's talk about painting, all right? HVLP, automotive, all that kind of stuff where you want steady low pressure flow is key, all right? Now for this one, I'm gonna recommend, again, we're going back to California Air Tools for this, all right? So this is California Air Tools 120C, 2 horsepower, 10 gallon, 70 dBA. Again, not ultra quiet, but pretty darn quiet, all right? Oil-free maintenance on it. It'll run a long time without dropping pressure mid-pass, which for painting is essential. This one's almost set up specifically for painting. Now, the backup to this is going to be the McGraw 29 gallon. This is a belt-driven, oil-lubed shop auto compressor. 29 gallons, 165 max PSI, 5.3 SCFM at 90 PSI, and 75 dBA, which is not bad. It'll keep you spraying longer between cycles, and it's not going to break the bank on you. I mean, it's not the cheapest thing out there, but it's a good general purpose that can also do painting. All right, let's talk about our sixth place category, and that's metalworking. Plasma cutter, die grinders, all that kind of stuff. You're going to need enough air here to avoid sputtering out mid-job, and that's where this is really going to come into play, which is why we're going with the American-made Quincy. This is the big boy air compressor. 5 horsepower, 230 volt, 60 gallon vertical air compressor, again, made in the USA. This is it. This is a solid top of the line, or not top of the line, but for most people, it's going to be the top of the line vertical air compressor, all right? This thing's really going to get the job done. Now, if you're on a budget, I don't blame you. We're going to talk about the Fortress 27 gallon, 200 PSI max, high performance, oil-free, 5.1 SCFM, 25% quieter than like the average one in this class. And at $400, that's not a bad deal right there. Now, what about actually welding support? We're talking air-powered clamps, chisels, grinders, all that kind of stuff. And for that, this is an old school one for me. It's the Makita, the big bore, the Mac 5200, 6.5 CFM, at 90 PSI, fast recovery, ruggedly built. This one is one of those compressors that just keeps going. And around $400, this thing's worth every penny if you use it a lot. Now, the runner-up to this one's going to be the Cal Air 4620 AC. Now you're looking 70 dP, not too loud there. It's running at it's 5.3 CFM and a price tag of around $400 though. It's not the cheapest thing out there, but for what you're using it for, you got to take that in consideration. Now let's talk about heavy duty shop use, all right? We're talking, you're running multiple people, running multiple tools, and you just got to keep up with them. Well, we got to go back to the Quincy. That's just the answer right there. It's not cheap. It's $2,000. It's made in the USA. Now, the old standby for this used to be the Ingersoll Rand, and I've been hearing a lot back from it. I mean, 14 CFM. It's a huge beast of an air compressor. It was the tank for back in the day, but some people say that they might have lost a step. Now, what if you're looking at sandblasting? Particularly, we're looking at DIY. We're not looking at the pros here. Maybe you got one of the Harbor Freight sandblast cabinets or something like that. The problem, though, is still they're air hogs, all right? They need a lot of air, usually at not a ton of PSI. They just got to move that aggregate, okay? So the first one we're going to talk about here is over at Tractor Supply, it's the DeWalt. Now, this is the DXCM 303, 6.2 CFM at 90 PSI. And it is literally built like a tank. It'll do 175 PSI. It's belt driven and has a price tag around $750. The backup to this, we're going back to the McGraw. basically, it's just the budget version of that one. You're looking at 29 gallon, 165 psi, 5.3 SCFM at 90, and a 75 dBA on that. Now, the last category here isn't really compressors so much as inflators, because a lot of times all you need to do is air up that tire, especially when you're on the go. So the two I'm going to talk about here are the Fantic X8. If you've been around the channel, you know this is my go-to. I keep it in the pickup truck. I keep it in the RV. It will do 80 PSI in an automotive tire all day long. And it'll do 150 PSI in one of those road race bike kind of tires. But that said, this is just a go-to, also acts as a battery backup. And it's on sale right now for $70. Now, the alternative to this is Wolfbox. So Wolfbox has been coming on strong, and this has got you the best of both worlds. It's an inflator. It can do 160 PSI and a very capable jump starter as well. It's going to do it all for you, and it's only $140. Plus, it comes with a semi-rigid case, and you know I got a soft spot when it comes to that, right? So anyway, hopefully this has answered your questions. I tried to go through it kind of quick. I didn't make it a super long video. If you got questions, put it down below. I tried to read through them. But what I tried to do here is think of all the categories that people ask me about, which is, as we said, it's whether you're just in the garage or whether you're trying to run, an aggregate through a sandblaster, or whether you want to run some paint or you want to run some air tools. This hopefully covered the entire spectrum. If I missed one though, as I said, let me know down below in the comments. We'll try and fix that. If you like what we do here, go ahead and chomp the old like button, smash that subscribe, ring the bell on the way out. You all take care, God bless, and as always, shine on.